Good to see you all today. Happy Thursday. We're going to wait just another minute or so here because we think we got some more people coming in.
Thanks so much for being here. Happy almost end of the school year, everyone.
I know, we're almost done. Yay. How many? We have 108, it looks like, people on so far. We already have a question in the Q&A, Andy.
Okay, sixth graders. So as we're going to get rolling here, I'm going to go ahead and mention this. I know that you're going to be generating a lot of questions from the presentation today. We're going to answer those questions at the end. So if you want to put them in your memory bank and just kind of hold off on those for right now, we'll answer those when we get to the end of the webinar today.
And we're also recording today, so we're going to put that on Mill Creek's counseling website that you can look at later if you so choose to do so.
Well, what do you think? Should we get started here?
I think we can.
Okay, excellent. Well, good morning, sixth grade. Welcome to Mill Creek Middle School Virtual Move-Up Day. In a normal year, we would have you all come over to Mill Creek and you would experience the day in the life of what we do at Mill Creek. But we really welcome you here virtually and really can't wait to see you. Before we begin, I just want to say thank you to Ms. Reich, Ms. Thompson, and our sixth grade teachers for giving us the time today to present to you our virtual Move-Up Day. So before we begin this slideshow, I'd like to introduce ourselves to you. So my name is Mr. Dam, and I'm sure some of you recognize who I am. I'm one of the band directors here at Dexter. And next we have Miss Arbor.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Arbor. I am a support teacher here at Mill Creek. Before Mill Creek, I was actually at Creekside for 15 years. So hi to all my wonderful Creekside teachers. And we're so excited to have you for next year. Next, we have Mrs. Gale. Miss Gale.
Hi, I'm Miss Gale. I'm going to be your counselor next year. And I think I spoke with many of you during this scheduling webinar. So I'm excited to have you up here next year. You're going to love Mill Creek. And next we have Miss Prejean.
Hi, Creekside friends. My name is Mrs. Prejean, and I will be your 7th grade physical education teacher next year. And next up, we have Mr. Sinopoli Smith.
Hi, good morning, 6th graders. Yep, my name is Mr. Sinopoli Smith. I am actually a science teacher here at Mill Creek. I will also be teaching some of you in electives, which we'll be talking about in a bit. So although I am an 8th grade teacher, you might also see me for some of your afternoon classes.
Excellent. So this is, again, just a reminder, sixth graders, that you might be generating some questions as we go through the slides. So keep those in your memory bank, and we'll answer some of those questions when we get to the end of the presentation. Okay? So we'll go ahead and begin.
All right. So this presentation, we're going to be going over possible classes you might be taking next year, meeting some of the teachers, giving you a sense of the clubs and after-school activities you could participate in, and really just to get you excited about your middle school experience. So to kick it off, we actually do want to begin with a tour made by some of our student leaders here. So at Mill Creek, you definitely have the opportunity of exploring your own leadership skills and styles and making a difference to all of your peers in our building. So this video was made by some of our student leaders, and we're really excited to show it to you.
would you like me to click on it, Mr. Sinopoli?
Oh yeah, go ahead and do that. That's fine.
Okay.
Sorry.
Welcome to Mill Creek. We're so excited to have you. When you slide to the left, you have the music. Whoa! Now let's continue down the hallway. That's what not to do.
To your right is the middle stairwell where your flex spaces will be. So this is like some of your enrichment classes and language. Let's take a look. Here is one of the flex spaces, the lower level.
And right outside of these doors is the middle stairwell.
On the opposite side of the flex spaces and stairwell is the music hallway.
This is the orchestra room where you can play string instruments. Also, right by the orchestra hallway is the cafeteria. Wow!
As you keep walking down the hallway, we have where all the summit rooms are. And lots of lockers, yes. They do have locks, but don't be intimidated. You will learn how to open them eventually. All right, also in this hallway, there is another little hallway that leads to the band room. At the very end of this hallway, we have the student art stairwell. Once you exit the stairwell, to your left is the health room and careers and tech. And don't forget about your language classes, they're right next door. So this is another open section in the upper hallway. Don't really know what it's for, but it's cool. Take naps. To take naps. Yes, and we also have the middle stairwell right in here. So we already showed you the lower flex space, but there is another one over here, which is the choir room. Here it is.
Once you continue further down the hallway, we have the art room. As a 7th grader, you can't take art, but you can take an art class. There aren't many 7th grade classrooms up here, so we're at the end of your tour for upstairs.
This is the stairwell on the opposite side of the school near the gym. So it's the third stairwell. After you leave the stairwell, we have the gym. Here's the gym.
Now we made it back to the main hallway.
This is Miss Gale's room. She'll be your counselor for 7th grade.
Right next door is the media center.
Once you walk past the media center,
You make it back to the main entrance.
and this concludes our tour.
We're so excited to have you next year.
As we get situated, I just wanted to point out, one of the great things about Mill Creek is it's an opportunity for you to truly explore your passions. And if you are interested in things like video production or, or iMovie or anything else technologically related, just know there are so many avenues for you to really grow in those fields. And if you are one to just enjoy making things like these videos, you have so many opportunities to do that. So thanks for watching.
So I'm going to introduce you to the office staff here. In the left upper corner, we have Miss Bronson. She's the principal at Mill Creek, and Mr. Pedersen, he's the assistant principal. Our two secretaries that we have in the office are Miss Dunham and Mrs. Durbin. And then we also have Mrs. Baldus, who is an assistant. She helps out in the office, and she's also the lunchroom supervisor. And then down in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Tank. So we have a therapy dog here. We have him help kids that are having a hard time. Kids can actually take him out for walks and on breaks. So he's a great addition to our office. He's actually owned by Mr. Damon. That's his dog, and he brings him to Mill Creek every morning. And we appreciate him. Just so you know, at the office, it's very similar, I'm sure, to Creekside's office. So if you're running late to school, you would come into the office and get a pass to class. If you need to leave for an appointment, you would go down to the office to get a pass to leave early. If you're not feeling well, usually you go to the office and let them know. And then if you need to call your parents for anything, you would go down to the main office and call from there. Our media center. So Our two media center people are Miss Straub and Mrs. Williams. Miss Straub is here a couple days during the week, I think Mondays and Thursdays, and Miss Williams is here Monday through Friday. We have lots of books in our library, but on top of that you can check out, but on top of that, this is where you would take your Chromebook if it is broken or not working well. Or if you happen to leave your Chromebook at home and need to borrow one, you would go down to the media center and borrow a Chromebook. Sometimes kids forget their chargers and need to charge their Chromebooks. So you could also go down to the media center to get a charger to charge your Chromebook. But like I said too, there's tons of books to check out. We've got lots to choose from.
Okay, and next we have the cafeteria. As you had seen in the video from the slide earlier, this is a great place not only to enjoy really good, delicious food, but it also provides fun activities such as games that usually happen during lunch. This year we've had movies being played during lunchtime. We host afternoon dances after school, and a lot of times some school sports practice. And you can see we have a couple different arrangements of seating here. In a normal year, if you look to the picture on the upper left or lower right, those round tables, that's normally what Mill Creek lunches would look like. We added a couple pictures of the bottom left and upper right, what lunch looked like this year in our unusual year. So it's a little bit about the cafeteria there.
All right, so at Mill Creek, we are situated in teams. So all of you will be assigned to one of 5 teams, and each team has a math teacher, a science teacher, history teacher, and an math, history, English teacher, sorry. And you'll find out those assignments sometime in August. But I just really wanted to go ahead and introduce to you who you could be having for next year core subjects. And again, as a reminder, you might have some of these teachers as well for your afternoon electives, which we'll be talking again about a little later. So your science teachers are right here. That's me. I'm on the bottom left. Then we have Mrs. Jastrin, Mr. Fry, Mr. Yan, and Mrs. Muchler, all of whom again teach science. But yeah, you can go to the next slide. Your math teachers, right? We have Mrs. Dever, Mrs. Straub, Ms. Bell, Ms. Park, Mrs. Weinman, and Mrs. Burgess. See their faces. English or language arts. We have Mr. Schlander. Again, I know it's a hard name to pronounce, but Mr. Schlander is one of the English teachers. We have Mrs. Sauls, Mr. Ivan, Mr. Holscher, and Mrs. Fike. And then for social studies, so 7th grade, social studies, your teachers could be Mrs. Darton, Mr. Lamb, Mr. Sperendi, Mrs. Grant, and then Mrs. Gallagher.
All right, so good morning again, 6th, almost 7th grade friends. Like others have said, we are extremely excited to have you at Mill Creek this next year. I wanted to spend a few minutes talking to you a little bit about your enrichment classes. So here are some pictures of the teachers you will have for 7th and 8th grade. Enrichment classes are kind of like the special classes that you've had in the past. During 7th and 8th grade, in addition to your core classes, you'll have 4 enrichment classes each year. So you'll have 1 every quarter, and a quarter is usually about 9 weeks. In 7th grade, so we're going to focus on 7th grade first, you will have careers in technology with Mr. Emily, where you will focus on computer technology and explore various career options. You'll have adolescent health with Ms. Zurich, where you will learn about social, emotional, and reproductive health. And then based on your scheduling preference that you chose earlier in the year, you will take either Spanish or French with Mrs. Selectman, where you will explore cultures of different areas of the world and learn basic vocabulary. And then finally in 7th grade, you'll have myself for physical education, where you'll have the opportunity to learn about a variety of health topics and participate in team and individual sports. And then in 8th grade, you'll also have 4 additional enrichment classes, which will be physical education with Mrs. Kuzma, life skills with Mr. Anderson, art with Ms. Carapas, and then technology education with Mr. Semple.
Okay, at Mill Creek, there are supports available, just like there is at Creekside. So we have 6 support teachers. So the first one is Mrs. Babicki up in the upper left-hand corner. Then to the right of her, we have Mrs. Nowitzki. Now we have Mrs. Krynock. We have Mr. Davison, Mrs. Bowen, and then we have myself, Mrs. Arbor. So how it works at Mill Creek is support teachers are assigned to a team. So you'll see these faces, you'll see one of these faces on your team, and then they're there to support and help all students.
So I'm Miss Gail. I'm pictured in the left, and I'm part of the social emotional team. And my partners are Miss Peterson, who will be the 8th grade counselor next year, and Mrs. Romano, who is the social worker. And as a team, we provide individual counseling, and next year we're going to be doing some groups. Also hoping to do some social emotional lessons next year, and hoping to starting to put together an anti-bullying committee with some social justice pieces. So, and I want to just put this out there, just because I'm your counselor next year, if you feel more comfortable speaking to Miss Peterson, that is absolutely fine. I see some of her students also, so we don't just kind of hoard our students. I want you to go to who you're most comfortable with.
Okay, next we have the electives. So as Mr. Sinopoli Smith had mentioned earlier, the really cool thing about Mill Creek is you have this opportunity to explore a bunch of different areas in subjects, much like your flex classes at Creekside. And you can see on here we have some examples such as Beyond Books, foods, community service and leadership, and reading buddies. We used to have one called Moving to the Music, which I think was kind of like a dance type thing. So there's this long, extensive list of electives for you to choose from. And these are going to be taught by all teachers at Mill Creek. And these will fill the last 2 class periods of your school day. And one of those electives that you will choose is Mill Creek Music. And you can see here the teachers that we have. Most of them you will probably recognize because you have had us at Creekside. But you'll see there Miss Bassett is the choir teacher at Mill Creek. And hopefully you've had a chance to meet with her at some point. And the really, really cool thing about Mill Creek Music is we now open up so many more opportunities for you to perform that you really haven't had at Creekside. And examples would be some honors groups where you can audition and play with students from across the state. We go to festivals where you can get together with some of your friends and go perform. We do things such as a jazz band at Mill Creek. I know that we include a full orchestra where we have band and orchestra students combined to create music. And another cool thing too that's been happening in the past couple of years is we have had all students, band, choir, and orchestra participate in the high school musical. So this past school year, I think we did Tarzan. So we had choir students singing in the musical, and we had band and orchestra students performing in the pit orchestra for the musical. So we really expand quite a bit for your performance opportunities as well at Mill Creek. And you can see some pictures that we have there performing on stage and in class.
All right, yeah, and kind of going along with that, there are also so many more opportunities for you for sports and clubs at Mill Creek. So you can see on the left all the different options you can choose from, and we do compete in all of these against schools in the area, so including cross country, football, field hockey, and volleyball. If any of you are interested in any of those sports, there will be tons of information being sent to you via email over the summer and actually into the fall. So be on the outlook for those emails. But we have those options for you in the fall. In the winter, we have swimming and basketball and wrestling. And in the spring, we have track and field. And the really wonderful thing about track and field is that we have over 150, 200 kids participating in it. So even if you've never ran, a mile before, you definitely have the opportunity to just try it out and continue to grow as an athlete. Right. And sports and clubs as well. So we provide tons of opportunities for you to just to kind of have fun with friends and get together with similar interests and passions. We have a Dungeons and Dragons club. Again, it's all student led. We have a creative club where you get to, work those creative juices and try some different arts and crafts and other forms of creativity. We have a chess club. We have robotics. We have a middle school forensics club, which is actually speech and debate. But I really want to emphasize the bottom. Whatever you are passionate about, there honestly could be a club for it. All the things I mentioned before are all student led, student run, and also student created. So if you are passionate about something and there is a group of you that want to kind of follow that same interest, we can easily organize an after school club for that.
Okay, we have many special events available at Mill Creek throughout the school year. So we have spirit assemblies, and that's you can see over in the middle picture and the left-hand column where we have assemblies, where we have kids get together and they do fun activities. Then we also have dances. So 7th and 8th grade we have dances that are right after school, and kids love the dances. We have lock-in normally it's for 7th grade, where they're here in the building until I think it's around midnight, and they do fun activities. And then there will be some sort of camp activity next year, the first couple of weeks of school. And at the end of the year, after it's the first day when school's out next year, we offer Cedar Point for 7th and 8th graders. So we have tons of fun activities at Mill Creek.
Okay, so we're going to have a Mill Creek orientation August 30th at 6 p.m. for new 7th graders. Your parents will get this information also. At that time, you're going to receive your class schedule. So you're going to find out who your teachers are. You'll receive your locker assignment and combinations, so you'll be able to try that. And then you'll get your school picture taken and be able to pick up your Chromebook that same time. But one thing I want to emphasize here at Mill Creek is we treat our students like young adults. You're at the age where you're gaining independence. So there's a lot more freedoms here, I think. I know kids walk to class with friends or by themselves. You're not walking as a whole class. So you kind of have that freedom to walk with whom you want and not just kind of stick with your classmates. So there's a lot more freedoms in independence, definitely up here at Mill Creek.
Okay, so that concludes our presentation. We, again, are so excited to see you next year. Can't wait to meet you. And we know that you're really going to enjoy Mill Creek and the atmosphere in this building, okay? So at this time, we are going to, again, put this presentation up on the Mill Creek website. We do have some email addresses down there below if you have additional questions for any of us. But right now, what we would like to do is we would like to open up the Q&A, the question and answer session. So if you have any questions about anything that you had seen in the slideshows, and hopefully we could get a chance to answer them for you. So if you want to go ahead and open up the Q&A box there and type in your questions, we can go ahead and start answering these for you. I can go ahead with the first question we have here. It says, do we have to use locks for our lockers? Like, do we have to memorize codes? So at Mill Creek, there is a combination right on the locker, and you will have to memorize the code. The nice thing is that, we help you with that and how to open up your lockers. And then really after that, it's just a matter of, doing it a few times to the point where you can memorize the code. It's only 3 digits, and it'll come nice and easy to you.
Yeah, and during the first few weeks of school, there'll be teachers walking around the hallways and will be, helping you. So please don't be nervous or scared to ask for help, because we're all very friendly and we would love to help you.
And it's the lockers, I think, is one of the biggest worries, and kids get really scared about it, but I promise you, you will get it, and we're all there to help you.
Okay, next question. When my brother came to Mill Creek 2 years ago, he had trouble with his locker getting stuck. Will this be an issue when we get to 7th grade? Sometimes it does, but again, the teachers are going to help you, talk about organizing your locker. So things like that, it'll happen at some point, but we'll be there to help you.
All right, looks like will we have round tables next year? So Mill Creek has some pretty cool furniture and pretty flexible seating arrangements. So fingers crossed that next year when you get to our classrooms, you'll see tons of different furniture options, including some couches and other seating arrangements.
Okay, I'll take the question about the frozen yogurt because that's a favorite. So yes, there is a frozen yogurt machine, and yes, it's an absolute favorite for the students. And yes, you get to have frozen yogurt. So the kids are always so excited about that. So yes, there is a frozen yogurt machine.
Okay, Macy, next question, which is a great one. Is there a girls football team? So there is a football team and everyone is welcome. It's not specific to boys or girls. So if you have a passion for football and you want to try it out and you love it, we all say go for it.
Okay, Anne, do you want to take the one about soccer?
Sure. Yes, so why is there no soccer in 7th and 8th grade? Great question. Unfortunately, there's not a Mill Creek soccer team. If you have a passion for that, like Mr. Sinopoli Smith said, and you want to get a group of kids to kind of make that happen and talk to Miss Bronson about it, we encourage you to do so. But right now, unfortunately, soccer is only offered through community education.
Okay, do you want to, how do we sign up for a Mill Creek dance team? Anne, do you know that one?
To sign up for sports and clubs, like we talked about before, we will have opportunity for that at open house. So there'll be sign-up sheets on a table that'll be labeled sports and clubs that you can sign up for it, and it'll ask for your email address, and then your coach or the teacher will email you with information. And you'll also have an opportunity to sign up the first few weeks of school as well.
I'll take the next one. There's a question about next year, will we need to wear masks? Will we have separate tables again? Will it be normal? We're not sure what next year's gonna be like. We're hopeful that it's gonna be back to normal and not wearing masks and not being able to be so separated. So that's what we're hoping for, but we can't really tell till we get to that point.
Okay, at the orientation, can we look for our classes? Yes.
Yep.
So for orientation, you will be getting your picture taken. You will be getting, you'll have your schedule. You will not meet the teachers at orientation, but you can go to your rooms to find out where your classes are. You can practice opening your locker as many times as you want. But you won't actually meet your teachers at orientation. We'll have what's called curriculum night, where parents will be able to come in, and that's when you'll meet the parents will meet your teachers. But at orientation, you will not meet your teachers, but you can see your classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And the next question is, will there be swimming and diving or just swimming? So another great question. That is a typo on our end. Yes, there will be swimming as well as diving if you're on the swim and dive team.
All right. If you are not here for student orientation, don't worry. You'll still get your Chromebook and your schedule. It might just be at a later date. You can always swing by the office like after orientation before school starts if you want, but you'll have your Chromebook the first day of school. Don't worry about that.
In lunch, there's a question about, do you have to sit with your homeroom? No, you do not. You can sit with anybody you want to in the lunchroom. Your homeroom team will be all at lunch at the same time, but you can sit with whomever you would like to sit with.
Okay, do we have bigger Chromebooks? So I believe, I don't know what the Chromebooks look like at Creekside, but I believe it is the bigger ones here. So yes, and it is, I don't know how it is at Creekside also, but at Mill Creek, you get assigned a Chromebook and you have that Chromebook all year long. So you take it home. It's your Chromebook for the school year. You turn it in at the end of the year.
So the more about the lock-in. So the 7th grade lock-in, it's just a I think it's held right after school until about 11 o'clock at night. And there's all kinds of fun activities to do. We have food to eat. I think we have pizza, and there's just all types of games. I think we had a, oh, I'm trying to think what that was in the one room where you got to solve the problem and try to get out, like an escape room.
Yeah.
We had an escape room last time, and just a lot of fun activities.
We had the big bounce, like the bounce houses. We had, I think one year, the bounce house where you have karate, like they're karate, like wrestling or something. Lots of bounce houses. So it's lots of fun.
And some kids don't stay the whole time. Some kids, you know, have their parents pick them up ahead of time, and that's okay. That you don't have to stay until 11 o'clock.
What if we don't have any way to receive emails over the summer? You're not missing anything. I might have misspoke about sports and stuff. Any really important information will be emailed to your parents or given to you through the mail. If you want to participate in any sport that's a fall sport, there'll be plenty of sign-up opportunities either at orientation or at curriculum night or like the first couple weeks of school. So you're not going to miss anything big over the summer. You all definitely deserve a summer before next year, so don't worry. But we'll get you all the information that you might need.
Is there a
Great.
softball team? I can take that one.
Mhm.
There is not a Mill Creek softball team. If you would like to play softball, Little League offers 2 seasons. One starts in the spring around March or April, and then there's a summer season. But again, just like soccer, if you are interested in something you're passionate about and you want to, you know, talk to Miss Bronson about that, she would be welcome to, you know, have a conversation with you.
All right. How many teams are there? So there are 5 teams total. And again, you will be assigned your team in August. And then will there be home rooms? So yep, in 7th grade, not only are you assigned a team, but in that specific team, we call that an anchor. There'll be around 30 of you in one anchor. And typically those anchor classes kind of get moved. So you'll be with the same kids for all of those core classes. Again, your afternoon classes are pretty much jumbled based on those electives, but you'll be with that same anchor in that team most of or all of the year.
Hey, David, can you piggyback on the next question from Kirsten Korf's class? How many classes will they go to in a day? Will students move to different classes, or because of COVID, will teachers move?
That's a great question. So as of now, I think we are assuming that the kids will be moving. Typically, the schedule is you have we're on a block schedule. So that means you're going to have 2 core classes a day and then your 2 electives. And then the next day, you'll see the next 2 core classes and those same 2 electives. So around 4 core classes with electives. And then you're also going to have your enrichment class somewhere in that day. So plan on around 5 classes a day and you will be able to go from room to room to all of those classes.
Okay, there's a question about Cedar Point. Is it free? Nope, it's not free. There will be a sign up towards the end of the year and you will have to pay. Also, there's a question. Oh the questions are moving. How long between classes, or is it like 5 minutes between classes?
Mm-hmm. There's a question here. Well, where did that go? I've heard about the non-binary bathroom. Is that a thing? Yes, we have several bathrooms through the school that can be used. So yes.
Okay, and there's a couple questions about DC. So DC is an 8th grade trip. So it isn't something you would do in 7th grade. Your big activities in 7th grade is this camp, but 8th grade is planning right now. And again, everything always is up to change to go to DC next year, but that is for an 8th grade trip.
Is there a gaming club? There should be, right? Let's make one. We love board games here. So let's definitely make a gaming club. How can you walk tank? Like how we decide. So that's more of the teacher's discretion. Typically there is a sign up and Tank, you know, he's a dog. So he has preferences in terms of how often he does get walked. So your teachers will kind of be in charge of deciding how often and when. But more than likely, if you have a desire to walk him, you'll be able to give them that chance at some point throughout the day or week.
So there are a couple questions about dances. So the dances, and this is in a traditional year, dances and how for sure it's going to look in the fall, we don't know. But generally dances are on the schedule. And it's not normally a boy-girl thing where somebody asks you to the dance. Everybody just goes and you dance kind of with everybody. So, and kids, kids wondering, do you have to get dressed up? Nope, because it's right after school. You just wear what you wore to school and you just go into, it's usually in the cafeteria, and we have lights and we have a DJ and there's pizza also to buy, and you just dance and have fun with your friends.
I'm going to answer the question about second floor. We do have a second floor, and sometimes seventh graders do go up on the second floor for their electives or their enrichment classes. So your homeroom class will be on the first floor, and then you will probably go upstairs for enrichment and elective classes. I see a question here too about a map of the school that I'll have to ask about and see how we can do that. I'll check with Ms. Bronson about that. I know during orientation, that's probably something we'll have out for kids to get at that point, but I'll check and see if there's one available ahead of time.
But how far, oh, sorry.
No, you go ahead, David.
But how far apart are the classes? So luckily, because we are teamed, all of the team classes are in like one section of the building. The only thing that you might need to travel to are for those afternoon electives and your enrichment. For seventh grade, other than gym, all of the enrichment classes are also in one wing of the building. So not too far. And again, Mill Creek is pretty easy to navigate because it's just two really long hallways, one on top of the other, and they do mirror each other.
There are lots of questions about recess and break. We don't officially have recess at Mill Creek, and I know that's a bummer because I know there is recess, but teams, depending on the team, it generally more happens in seventh grade. They do have breaks, and those breaks do include some activities outside, but there is no official recess at Mill Creek.
There's also a few questions about frozen yogurt, which I know is super exciting and it's very delicious. There is a cost for frozen yogurt. I don't know exactly how much, but you will have an opportunity to get your frozen yogurt daily.
I see one here too about a dress code. Yes, there is a dress code. And, that dress code will be explained to you on the first couple days of school. We'll have a big presentation talking about the dress code.
Yep. So, and again, in seventh grade, our homerooms are what's called anchor classes. And those anchor classes move together to all those core classes as in that same team. Your enrichment will also be mixed with kids from your same team. Your electives are where kids might shuffle and be jumbled with other grades. But all your core classes and your enrichment class, again, will be in that anchor or with the same team.
And I'm going to touch base on softball and baseball real quick. So there is not, unfortunately, a Mill Creek team for softball, baseball, hockey, or tennis, which I see in here. Tennis is offered through community education. Softball and baseball is offered through Little League. But again, you know, if you have a group of kids and you're excited and passionate about that, you can talk to admin about that.
Looks like how does the school promote and support Pride students? I'm assuming we're talking about our LGBTQ plus friends. We at Mill Creek have a philosophy to making every kid feel safe and welcome and valued. And we fully support pronouns and making sure that we provide non-binary bathrooms. So we pride ourselves in making sure we protect and safeguard everyone's identity and background.
I see quite a few questions about camp, mixed answers about what's going on for camp. Can there be some clarification? And I think, Ms. Gale, you said that you might know something about camp next year.
Camp, we're not sure what camp's going to look like exactly next year. In previous years, the kids have been able to go to camp for a week and stay overnight. This year, since COVID, it's been totally different. So the kids are having a different camp experience. They're going for 2 full days of school, but not staying the night. So we're not sure what next year is going to look like as far as camp goes.
During lunch, can we sit wherever we can? Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, next year you'll be able to pick where you would like to sit for lunch. Are we going to find out who our teacher is? Yep, so there'll be a letter that gets mailed home, a newsletter, where you get to see the pictures of your teachers for next year, and some bios of them. So that'll be in the mail, the post office mail. Sometime in August, those get sent out.
Let's see what else there is.
I'm
Have we
looking
gotten
for
them
some
all?
different ones.
So it looks like we have student council. Yep, so one of the electives you get to possibly take next year is called community service and leadership. So I am one of the advisors. The cool thing about our program is that there's no student council because everyone has a role and a role to play in our school. So anyone can be part of the fundraising committee, the dance and after school activity committee. You have the option of making your own committee as well. We do focus on community service as well. So making a difference, not just at Mill Creek, but in Dexter. Anyone can be part of our student council, and everybody has the ability to help plan spirit events and other activities for all the classes. You can always email me or reach out if you have any other specific questions about our leadership class. But again, anybody can be part of that. Is there a limit? Yes, again, you can start your own club. And is there a limit? There's not necessarily a limit. Again, though, you got to think about 7th grade is going to be harder than 6th grade. And there are a lot more requirements with class loads and assignments. So think of this as like a trial and error phase, right? And see what you can handle, right? And if you find yourself struggling a little bit and keeping up with your classes, maybe put a halt to how many clubs you do join. We welcome anyone to join any number of clubs, but make sure you're taking care of yourself and not getting too overwhelmed with the work you might need to do at home.
I see a question about is detention a thing in the 7th and 8th grade? So sometimes students will serve a lunch detention in the office for different behaviors. And they do schoolwork during that time. Sometimes kids are down for part of a day. It just depends on what has happened. We don't have an after-school detention. We do have an after-school academy where if kids are behind in schoolwork, we will recommend them or have them come to academy.
So I see that we still have about 70 questions.
Yeah.
That we're probably not going to get a chance to answer all of them today. So I'm just wondering, should we table the rest of the questions and they can email us at this point if they have specific questions? Is there a way we can get the email addresses back up on the screen share maybe?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, so 6th graders, we know that a lot of you have questions. And we'd love to answer all of them, but we have quite a few in the chat still. So listen, if you want to email one of us, you can see our email addresses right there if you want to jot that down real quick and submit your questions to us. We'll do the best we can to get to those questions for you, okay?
I think we've answered most of them. Oh, can you type up remaining questions and just send it a doc? That's what Ms. Korf asked. If we could kind of type up the remaining questions and send a doc.
Okay.
Great idea.
Yeah. We will do that. Hey, Andy, did you wrap it up and say we're...
I think we're about set. So again, 6th grade, we're just, thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. And we just can't wait to see you next year, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.